Have you ever looked at someone you once supported, someone you defended, listened to, sacrificed for, and quietly thought, how could you do this to me? Not because you expected perfection, but because you never imagined that the person you helped carry through their darkest moments would be the one to wound you the deepest. And what makes it hurt even more is that betrayal rarely comes from strangers. It often comes from people you made space for. People you believed in. People you gave your time, your energy, your patience, sometimes even pieces of yourself. If you've ever felt confused by that kind of pain, this video is for you. Because the truth is, being deeply helpful, loyal, and emotionally available can create bonds that look strong on the surface. But underneath, something more complicated may be happening. Sometimes, the people you help the most do not feel closer to you. Sometimes, they feel smaller around you. And if we don't understand why, we keep repeating the same painful pattern, wondering why kindness keeps coming back as disappointment. Let's talk about it. There are people in this world who naturally become the safe place. At work, you're the one who stays late to fix what others missed. In relationships, you're the one who gives second chances and tries to understand what they really meant. In families, you're the peacemaker, the reliable one, the emotionally steady one everyone leans on. And on the outside, that might look like strength, but on the inside, it can slowly become a silent contract. I'll be there for you. And surely that means you'll value me, protect me, and never intentionally hurt me. But human behavior doesn't always follow fairness. That's the painful part. People do not always respond to support with gratitude. Sometimes, they respond with discomfort. Sometimes, distance. Sometimes, resentment. And sometimes, betrayal. The first reason is this: help can create an invisible power imbalance. Even when your intentions are pure, being the one who gives can unconsciously make the other person feel dependent, exposed, or ashamed. Not because you did anything wrong, but because receiving help reminds people of what they could not do alone. And if someone already struggles with pride, insecurity, or your support may not feel comforting forever. It may start to feel like evidence of their weakness. So instead of appreciating the person who helped them, they may begin pulling away from the feeling your presence creates in them. Sometimes betrayal is not just about cruelty. Sometimes it is a person trying to escape the version of themselves they become around you. That doesn't excuse it, but it explains a lot. The second reason. Some people confuse being cared for with being entitled to you. At first, they are grateful. They thank you. They lean on you. They appreciate your patience. But, over time, what was once a gift becomes an expectation. Your emotional labor becomes normal. Your availability becomes assumed. Your forgiveness becomes predictable. And when you finally set a boundary, when you say no, when you stop overextending yourself, they don't experience it as balance. They experience it as rejection. This is why some people seem loyal when you are useful, but become cold when you become unavailable. Not because you changed, but because access to your care was the part they loved most out. And that realization can be heartbreaking, because you thought you were building a relationship. But sometimes, you were building a role. The helper, the fixer, the steady one. And roles are easy to use, real. People are harder to honor. The third reason is deeply human. Being helped can trigger hidden comparison. This happens more often than people admit. If you're emotionally grounded, disciplined, generous, or quietly strong, some people don't just receive your help. They compare themselves to you. Your calm makes them feel chaotic. Your consistency makes them feel unreliable. Your kindness makes them feel guilty for what they haven't given. And instead of being inspired by you, they may begin to resent you. Not openly, not consciously, sometimes, but in subtle ways. They minimize what you've done. They speak about you with less warmth. They become defensive, dismissive, or strangely critical, because it's easier to attack what reminds them of their own discomfort than to face it honestly. This is one of the hardest truths to accept. Your goodness does not always make people love you more. Sometimes, it reveals wounds they were hiding from themselves. The fourth reason. Some people stay close to what saves them, until they feel strong enough to leave it behind. Think about how often people bond intensely during difficult seasons. A career crisis, a divorce, a family breakdown, a season of loneliness. In those moments, your presence means everything. You are stability, You are perspective, you are relief. But when they recover, when they rebuild, when life starts moving again, some people do not know how to carry gratitude without also feeling the weight of what they once needed. So they detach, sometimes abruptly, sometimes carelessly. And yes, sometimes they rewrite the story in their mind so they don't have to sit with the vulnerability of having depended on you. This is why a person can once say, "I don't know what I'd do without you," and later act as if your presence meant very little. Not because it meant little, but because it meant too much. And that kind of truth is difficult for emotionally avoidant people to hold. So what do we do with this? First, we stop turning every betrayal into a question about our worth. Their inability to honor your care is not proof that your care had no value. Second, we learn that helping someone is not the same as knowing them. A person can need your support and still lack the character to protect your heart. Need and integrity are not the same thing. And third, we remember this. Kindness without boundaries can attract people who admire light, but do not know how to live honestly around it. You do not need to become colder. You do not need to stop being generous. You do not need to punish your soft heart for what someone else did with it. But you do need to become more discerning. Notice who only comes close when they need something. Notice who grows resentful when you rest. Notice who receives your compassion but never takes responsibility, because the strongest hearts are not just kind. They are awake. Maybe the lesson was never stop helping. Maybe the lesson was help with open eyes. Love with self-respect. Give without abandoning yourself, and if someone you once carried has betrayed you, let this land gently. What they did says something about their relationship with shame, dependence, and character. It does not erase the beauty of what you gave. Some people lose access to good hearts, not because those hearts were too much, but because they did not know how to be honest in the presence of real love. If this spoke to something you've been carrying quietly, subscribe to Silence Psychology for more deep, honest conversations about human behavior, emotional intelligence, and the hidden strength behind what you feel.